Yo guys, it's your boy Dylan, and today we're going to be predicting week 14 of the 2024-25 NFL season. Now, before we go any further, we have 6 more teams, and these will be the last 6 teams to be on bye week for this final bye week. We have the Broncos, Commanders, Colts, Patriots, Ravens, and Texans. And then, as usual, every week we'll describe 3 teams that are going downwards or their season is in jeopardy, and then 3 teams that are on the push to the playoffs. So without further ado, let's begin, starting off with the Packers versus Lions. For the second straight week, the Packers and Lions will be playing on Thursday night. But this time, on Thursday night, they'll be going against one another because both teams did play separate games. For example, the Lions, they played against the Bears on Thanksgiving. And the Packers, they played against the Dolphins on Thanksgiving night. So we'll see how both teams play out. Honestly, I think it's going to be a close game, knowing that it's a tight, minus the Bears, it's a tight division race right now in the NFC North. I think the Lions are going to squeak out a victory. I think it's going to be a close game, like I said, but in the long run, after 4 quarters, this could be one of those games that could come down to a field goal, and I have the Lions winning this game to start off week 14. And then you get to the Browns and Steelers. Now, the Browns and Steelers they met up not too long ago. The Browns, they were able to upset the Steelers a couple weeks ago on Thursday Night Football. But this is a Sunday game, so this is where we start the Sunday games. But the Browns, trying to do everything they can to keep their season alive, which their season's already a piece of toast. As for the Steelers, another year, another winning season. They clinched another winning season last week over the Cincinnati Bengals. But in this game, I have the Steelers getting revenge on the on the Browns, and the Steelers will get their 10th win of the year, maybe. And technically, to be fair, on the NFC, there are actually no playoff clinching scenarios. I mean, I think they should at least give a spot to the Steelers, but we'll see how things go. We'll see how things go, but I do have the Steelers taking home the victory in week 14. Moving on to the Saints and Giants. The next 3 games are going to be snooze fest. And when I say snooze fest, I mean we're going to start off with the Saints and Giants. The Saints, after winning 2 in a row, they're back to losing. Again, they're 4-8. The Giants, though, are officially I don't know how, but they're officially the first NFC team to be eliminated from playoff contention. And their season is done for. So with that, I am having the Saints taking home the victory because for the Giants, there's not really much to play for. If the Saints take up a win, maybe their season's not over, but we'll see what happens. The next game we have is Jets and Dolphins. The Jets, things have just not gone to plan under. I know we keep saying this every week, and I'll say it again. For those that don't know, Aaron Rodgers he just hasn't been the guy for the Jets. Things have not gone to plan. Dolphins, they did lose, which is going to be another, nail in their coffin on their season. Not the final nail, but the nail. But the only thing that is the final nail is them not winning the division again. So I do have the Dolphins winning this game, getting their 6th win of the year and maybe even trying to keep their hopes alive. We'll just have to see what happens. But the Jets, they're going to face another loss, their 10th loss of the year, and even potentially eliminating them from the playoff race. This is probably going to be the ultimate toilet bowl of the week. Jaguars versus Titans. The Titans they're technically in 3rd place in the AFC South. But the Jaguars, their season is officially done. Their season is over. Last week they were one of the first teams in the AFC to officially be eliminated from playoff contention. So the Jaguars, things have just not gone to plan down there. So with that, I have the Titans taking home a win here, and Jaguars, and that's all I really have to say for that. So the Titans win. I'll explain a little bit more about what happened this past week to the quarterback for the Jacksonville. So moving on to the Falcons and Vikings. The Falcons, unfortunately, they've been on a losing streak. They have lost 3 in a row, unfortunately, knowing that they're technically still tied for the first place lead in the NFC in the NFC South. But the Vikings, on the other hand, they could have a chance at postseason football. And I'm saying this is going to be step one and maybe even a scenario right here. I have the Vikings taking a win against the Falcons, making the Falcons now lose 4 in a row, unfortunately. Moving on to Panthers and Eagles, this is another game where it could be lopsided. I mean, the Panthers, I don't know how they're not eliminated yet, but this is the week that they will probably be officially eliminated from contention. Got a lot of bad teams this year. Oh my goodness. But anyways, the Eagles, they're just on a winning streak. Everything's been clicking. Everything's been clicking on all 4 cylinders. And this is another game that they're gonna take home a win here. So with that, I have the Eagles taking a win here over the Panthers, getting their 11th win and maybe even a playoff spot too. Moving on to the Raiders and Bucks. The Raiders are the first team, I believe the first team this year to have an 8-game losing streak. That is just horrendous. At the start of their losing streak, they were, I believe, 2-2. I mean, that's not bad. But now they're 2-10. And again, one of the first AFC teams this year to officially be knocked out of playoff contention. The Buccaneers, though, they have won 2 in a row, and they're trying to get back on track. And this is another game where they can get back on track with the win. And since I have the Falcons losing earlier and the Buccaneers winning this one, the Buccaneers will retake first place in the NFC South with a 7-6 record, making the Falcons fall to 6-7 and all that stuff. Moving on to Seahawks and Cardinals. This is probably a game that will determine who's probably going to be a guaranteed first place leader in the NFC West. The Seahawks, they've been getting their group back together. As to where the Cardinals, they are slipping right now. They are on a 2-game losing streak, so things have been iffy these last 2 weeks. So things have not really gone to plan for Arizona, but I think things are going to not go to plan even further for Arizona, as I do have the Seahawks taking a win against the Cardinals, basically keeping their first place lead and making them improve to an 8-5 record and maybe even a win away from a winning season. Moving on to Bears and 49ers, the Bears decline continues. I mean, it only continues to decline from here. They are pretty much... Yeah, what else do I have to say about that? The Bears, that things have just not gone their way. They are on a 6-game losing streak, and this past week, Eberfloss was officially fired from the Bears, so hopefully they can get a new, fresh start under their new head coach next year, because their season's pretty much done. As to where the 49ers, I will talk about them a little bit more later on this video, but I do have them beating the Bears in Week 14. Moving on to Bills and Rams. The Bills, they are the first team this year overall to clinch a division. And the Bills clinched the AFC East over a win over the 49ers. And this past week, demolishing the 49ers 35-10. But the Bills, they're rolling. They're rocking and rolling. Everything's going on all 4 cylinders. While the Rams, they're kind of like the 49ers, but they're slightly better. They're 6-6. They're not out just yet. There's actually a few teams that are 6-6. Even the division leaders are 6-6. So, it's not like far away from them for playoff race, but with taking a loss to the Bills, this is something that will hurt the Rams. And I do have the Bills beating the Rams in Week 14. Probably making the Rams slip a bit. Moving on to some Sunday night football. We have the Chargers and Chiefs. This is for the AFC West division. The Chiefs, they have won the division for 8 straight years. They're currently sitting at an 11-1 record. They were the first team this year to punch a ticket to the playoffs. As for the Chargers aren't doing horrible. They're doing just fine. But for a 9th straight year, I think this is going to be probably one of the closest games of the week. Probably the better game of the week. I have the Chiefs beating the Chargers. Probably another one of those that could come down to a field goal because the Chargers are doing good right now. But like I said, I am saying the Chiefs will win on a field goal to win the division for a 9th straight year. And they will pass last year's win total of 11-6. They're right now at the 11 win mark, but if they get the win, they'll have their technically best season on record for records since the 2022-23 season. And last but not least, some Monday Night Football. We have the Bengals versus the Cowboys. The Bengals, they're another team that their season is just their season's pretty much done. As for the Cowboys, I mean, they're trying to hang in there. I mean, they've won 2 in a row, but with this week, in my opinion, I think they're going to win 3 in a row. Give me the Cowboys in week 14 and maybe trying to keep their postseason hopes alive. Who knows? So now that we got that out of the way, we're going to do 3 teams that are declining and 3 teams that are improving. Now, what I'm actually going to do this week is I'm going to stay on the declining side for the first 3 teams, and then the next 3, I'll talk about the improving teams. So starting off with the Bengals. I have Bengals at the number 3 slot. I originally had the Raiders because they are right now riding an 8-game losing streak, but the Bengals, they've lost 3 in a row. They were originally at 4-5 after like 9 games of play that they've played, but unfortunately things have just come crumbling down even further. Another 3-game losing streak for the first time since earlier this year where they were on that 0-3 start, and the Bengals, things are just not gelling right in Cincinnati. They are one more loss and they will have their most losses since the 2020 season. And if things continue going the way, another loss or 2 will pretty much be the final nail in the coffin, or will officially be the final nail in the coffin on the 2024-25 season. So best of luck for the Bengals, but I don't see really anything happening. Moving on to the Falcons. Like I think I said this earlier, but I'll say it again. The Falcons, they have lost 3 in a row. They went from a 6-3 record, and they are now down to a 6-6 record. That's an even 500. But remember what I said. I had the Falcons losing this week, but the Buccaneers winning. And if the Buccaneers do win, and if the Falcons lose, the Buccaneers will take that first place spot, while the Falcons, they're gonna start going downwards. They're gonna go to a second place. So the Falcons, they're gonna need to get something going, or else their season could be in jeopardy. And then on the declining side, the 49ers. The 49ers, for the first time this year overall, they are now 2 games below 500. They're at a 5-7 record. They are a last place team in the NFC West, and things have just not gone to plan. But not only that, but there has been injuries, and Christian McCaffrey is unfortunately out for the rest of the season. And Trent Williams, those are some big guys that carry the 49ers team. But if you don't have those big names like Trent Williams and Christian McCaffrey, that's going to be a dent. That's a dent in your roster. And what the record is right now at 5-7, that's already a dent right there. So, like I said, hopefully the 49ers can try to push for something. But again, another loss or 2 will really hurt their chances this year. Moving on to the improving side of things. So this is where we start going from the dark side to the bright side. Starting off with the Broncos. The Broncos, they have won 3 in a row. They're originally at 5-5, but now they're 8-5. And the Broncos, they won in a high-scoring game this past Monday night. And since they are 8-5, they are officially a win away from their first winning season since 2016. And hopefully with their schedule, if they can get locked in and all that, because I believe they have the Bengals and Colts, I'm assuming, or the Browns might be in it, or I might have to go back in the schedule. But with their schedule, if they can get locked in and all that, they can easily be and if they can lock in correctly, they can easily be a 10-7 team at most, probably. Maybe enough for the playoffs. So the Broncos, like I said, they can really start gelling quickly. Then
sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
Sorry, that Amazon echo went off. But they can start doing things correctly. They can go off on something. Moving on to the Commanders. Hey, they're back on the winning side. And with their win this past week, they are now back on the winning side. And they have matched last year's win total of 8-1. And yes, that one extra means a tie. But hey, the Commanders, another win or two could probably, it could probably get them real close to the postseason. So we'll see what happens. But they are on bye week too. So that is one thing I do want to point out. So they can't do anything this week, but they can try to do some things in week 15 and beyond. And on the improving side, even though they're not in the playoffs, and they should literally right now be in the playoffs, I mean, they have a chance to clinch tonight, I think, the Lions. The Detroit Lions, they just look unstoppable right now. They are on a 10-game winning streak. They went from 1-1 all the way up to 11-1. And they have a chance to extend it to 11 in a row and maybe even going 12-1. And remember, 12-5 was last year's record. They could reach 12 wins tonight. The Lions, I am impressed. If they can show this momentum in the playoffs, they can be a really dangerous team in the playoffs. So we'll have to see how some of these teams do. But until then, I will see you guys in the next video. If you guys want to see more content like this, then please smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, comment if you want to see something else, as we are inching closer to 1,000 subscribers. But until then, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.